Each of you turned 90 this year. Joyce Tarakilis, Eva Alvanus, and Margie Williams. I'm going to use your maiden names. What advice do you have for our young generation today who are facing so many pressures, because you all had many challenges that you faced in your life, and what advice would you give this younger generation today? If any of you can start or chime in, it's an open mic.
I would say in our generation, there weren't many of us, and we stuck together and we believed in the church. We went to all the events there, and we were very close-knit. Now, I remember the boys, the Greek boys, would always get together with the Jewish boys, and they would play, and they had a nice camaraderie with the Jews because they were just like us. But later on, when COVID came, a lot of the young kids have gotten out of the church, and the only advice I can say to get them back is they've got to, if they don't want to come to church, they should come back, join an organization from the church, and try to stay with their group and learn our heritage and do that. That's the only advice I
Yeah, but even what I'm saying more, and that's a great response, what I'm saying more is these kids today seem to have so many challenges and pressures. You all had not the same, but it was hard for you all. How did you all handle that pressure and those things that everyday kind of life?
We just did what our mothers and fathers said. You
You
had no choice.
Our parents were right there.
They're going to
Right, you're going to go. We
And
went.
you listened to your parents.
And you
listen.
listened, yeah.
And you had respect for your parents.
Exactly.
I don't think we see that as much in the world
No.
today.
Respect is so low.
But your parents taught you that, right?
We have a lot of more freedom nowadays
Honey,
than we had.
you know there's a song, children have to be taught. It's a song, and that's in there.
Yes.
And
True,
that's-
isn't it?
Yeah.
So true.
So go ahead,
You
Margie.
need to be grounded. You need to have religion, family, and you have to be grounded in this day and age. When we went through some very tough times.
We had good
World War
school,
II wasn't
we
the
had
easiest.
church. Okay, so,
Margie, because you all grew
But-
up during the Depression, World War II. I mean, you guys
Right.
went through
Well,
some.
we were born
Hello?
just as the Depression was ending, and we had rationing, stamps for food. You couldn't get sugar, you couldn't get this, you couldn't get that.
Right.
But we made do with what we had, and I give credit to my parents. I tell
Absolutely.
everybody, I give credit to my parents. Everything was moderation, and we were well grounded. Believe me, we had to. I mean, they didn't force us, but you went to church. You had Sunday dinners. You had family. You had something to hang on to.
You had family time. You had that connection. And you have to have that support, don't you?
You do. You
have
do.
to have that bond with somebody.
you need supervision by your parents.
Yes. Yes.
My parents knew where we were all the time.
Oh,
It,
yeah.
it seems like everybody needs structure. You need a routine, and how do you get that if no one
If
teaches
we
you
went
that?
to her house, they knew it. If we tried to go somewhere else, they
found
knew it.
you.
Oh, yes.
So,
They
I
did.
remember playing baby dolls in the kitchen on Prince George Street. We did. Hannah, you had the little dresses, and we played baby dolls.
my sister and I would walk from Franklin Street to her house
to
on
Prince
Prince
George.
George, yeah. And then from there, the 3 or 4 of us would walk to Main Street. How many blocks? and we thought we were doing something, you know, big deal.
And you
we were
remember-
shopping and
My brother,
Yeah,
Corizia,
Yeah.
and John, poor John couldn't
Poor
join
John.
us, and he gets so mad.
he was the baby. Yeah,
was the
poor
baby.
John was the baby. And then my brother came along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Billy boy.
Billy
we
boy.
had a good time with him.
Oh, where have you been, Billy boy, Billy boy? Where have you been, charming Billy?
Remember us walking him down
Yeah.
the street, you know, and we'd take the carriage, we thought we were something.
We babysat my brother, all of us, yeah,
Oh.
because he was the little one.
He was a wonderful.
A lot of
person.
fun.
Wonderful.
A lot of good times, simple things.
Yeah.
To us, it was,
It was very, well, it was simple,
Yeah.
the times
Simple.
were more simple.
Yeah.
And we could either be good or bad. You didn't have much choice out
Yeah.
there. And believe me, you didn't want to go home
Bad.
to my mother if you'd had been bad. Because she wasn't cruel, but I mean, she was
No. Labor.
We were disciplined, let me put it that way.
You had consequences,
You're
which
right.
I don't think
Yeah.
the
And
world
we had
sees so much now.
responsibilities
Right,
too.
but there's consequences for your actions.
You know, they would say, if you're gonna do this, then you're gonna get that,
Right.
you know?
And that worked because obviously they raised 3 wonderful, amazing women.
Oh,
You're still here with
I don't
us.
know about
God
Bless
bless.
Such
But,
a
you know,
blessing.
They wouldn't let us go to college.
Oh.
We got mad at them a lot of
Alan's
times,
got-
oh yeah.
Alan,
Why
a couple
can't I go to
questions.
college? Such and such is going to college.
I
and
know
can't
Anna
go."
wanted to go too.
Anna,
and
well, yeah,
we
she
all
got
went.
mad.
The boys got to go, John went.
So,
yeah.
ladies, a burning question I have is, your families landed in Annapolis at some point, and you grew up here, and you basically never left. But I'm sure you've traveled extensively
yes.
all over probably the world. Why did you stay in Annapolis? What was the magnet
I
that
love
kept you here?
Annapolis, everything about it. And
Well, your husband was from Annapolis. Mine was from Boston.
I left when I married.
Yes, she went to New York.
Okay.
and you
But
know,
I came back, at some point
and
I
I
came
can
back.
say the
but-
Christo family loved Annapolis. My husband never wanted to leave, and you wouldn't want to travel with him because he'd be so homesick when you went away. But yeah, but he loved Annapolis.
And John Christo and my husband were cousins. So that's how, you know, and John was, Jimmy was a lot like John, you know, they grew up in the same, you know, generation. And,
They were second cousins,
Yeah.
John and Jimmy, and their mothers were first cousins.
Yeah.
And that's how the match happened between
Yeah.
Right,
you and,
that's how they-
between
right.
Eva
Mhm.
and Jim, yeah.
And yeah.
And
So-
it was at Fred's Club, Fred's Restaurant,
Right.
the
Yeah.
match.
So, as young ladies in Annapolis of Greek ancestry, okay, or
And
attached-
Irish, yeah.
or Irish ethnic, okay, how are you accepted by people outside of your immediate community?
I had no problems.
No problems? That's the answer I
No.
expected. But I just wanted to hear you say it.
No problems in school.
It
or
wasn't,
anything?
there wouldn't,
I mean,
because
did
we
you
were
ever feel
American
uncomfortable
born.
being
Yeah,
Greek?
see, we weren't from Greece, we were American born, so everybody accepted
I'll
us.
give you one example. When the King and Queen of Greece came to the Naval Academy years ago when I think I'd been at the academy about a year by then. And because I was Greek, my bosses invited me to take a bunch of flowers, go up to the,
Did you go
Cars.
to
the
State House?
what is it, the museum,
Chapel.
wherever, the chapel.
Right, chapel.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Mhm.
and I was supposed to present the flowers to the King and Queen. I was very blasé about it. My parents were shocked that I was
Nervous.
so, yeah. And I handed her the flowers, I curtsied, I said something
Yeah.
in Greek, I don't know what I said.
Kalos Odisite.
Yeah, and they acknowledged, and then they went on into the chapel, and I went back to my job. And not one picture, I mean, the pictures were taken, but something happened, we couldn't retrieve them, and.
I remember that when the king
Yeah.
came. It
I
was
do too.
outside of the gate, and my
Uh-huh.
mother and I were there, and Mr. Agapitas was in the front of me with a bouquet of flowers. And the car stopped, and he threw the things, the flowers in there. Well, it's a wonder they didn't shoot him.
Yeah.
And he almost broke his leg, but he jumped back, and then, you know, the king or the queen, I think, got him, you know, because he threw him right in the window. And they went in through the gate and they went inside, but we never went, you know, my mother and I didn't, but my
when I-
mother wanted
yeah,
to be down there.
when I handed the flowers to the
At the
Queen,
chapel.
the king, to me, was like 7 feet tall. I looked up, I mean, I was quite impressed.
Yeah, and you should be.
You know, I was a
They were a
youngster,
handsome
but,
couple.
yeah,
They were
Very handsome couple.
yeah.
They were.
And I know they took pictures, but they were never found, because I know my parents wanted to see them, and they couldn't find the pictures, so.
You all mentioned, again, it was something now sort of with the women. How did you all do it, like you said, as growing up as women and, you know, not being allowed, or some of you did not go to college? I mean, was it just, you just rolled with the punches? Is
Yeah.
that pretty much what it was? Did you?
Yeah, well,
You didn't
Oh,
feel
what
any-
choice
I
did
was
we
always
have?
happy with my life. Even they talk about, the men make more money than the women and things like that. But when I was working at Montgomery Ward in the late 50s and early 60s, I was third paid in that organization at that particular place in Glen Burnie. The catalog department is where I worked. And so I didn't feel out of place. Maybe I was too unsophisticated to know that I was being taken advantage of, but I didn't feel I was ever taken advantage of. I was always treated with respect.
Yeah.
That's great.
And if you wanted to go farther, you could do it.
I think the three of us and our generation had the best of it.
I do too.
And
I
we're
think
still
we grew
together.
up in the best of
None of
times.
us are enemies. We all
Yeah.
love each other.
Except we're getting a divorce. I hate to tell
No,
you.
no, not
80,
now.
50 years that we're getting a divorce.
Oh, my
No, don't
goodness.
still talk to her.
I think you told me you were saying something about Eva when she said she didn't think she was shy or something. What was it?
Yes, she said in school she was very shy. I don't remember her as being shy. I was the shy.
I was
Yeah,
shy.
she was.
Oh.
Yes, she was. Now Anna was not shy.
Anna was,
You were
yeah.
not shy.
I
And
can't believe that.
And really, we had so many wonderful Greek
I was
girls.
quiet.
And you're an
I can't
honorary
remember.
Greek because you married a Greek. So I
Right.
always say
Yeah.
that makes you're an honorary Greek at
Yes,
that point.
that's right.
Absolutely.
Yes, and I love the Greek people. I've always said
And we
that.
love you.
And I gotta
Everybody
tell
always
you,
has.
We
her
love you
mom,
back. We love
Eva's
you
mom,
back.
there's so many
Yes.
moms that were so good. Yes.
Love you all
Thank
so
you,
much.
Joyce.
Well, ladies, we
We're
really
finished
appreciate.
for
Does
the
anybody have anything else you'd like to say? I mean, we're going to do this again, but we got the three of you together, all turning 90, and the only thing I was just going to say, we just wanted to thank you so much because the three of you have been very important in all of our lives as our Sunday school teachers, as our advisors, as people we went to for money. I can't tell you how many times, right, Alan, we went around with the junior Goya with the little coffee box, the cigar box, and we would come to your houses, and you all were inspirations to all of us, helping all of us. Diana's family, mine, Alan Alexopoulos, and you go on and on with all the names.
And it's
So I
a
just
wonderful
wanna thank
thing.
you.
I think the Greek church and religion, I mean,
We
I'm
worked hard
baptized
to
Catholic,
build that
but
church, you
wonderful,
know?
wonderful.
I know my uncle donated a ton of money, but then we all pitched
Right.
in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank God for the church, it pulled us all together.
My mother-in-law
Yeah.
pitched in early on, and she was a worker. No, it's good.
Yeah.
And
I
thank you
love
for
all
that
of the
because
churches.
I grew up in that church and
Yeah.
I'm still part of that church. And when I go there, I just feel that connection so much, and I'm never happier.
What you have to appreciate is the people who built it, because
Yes.
my parents were not rich, and
Right.
neither were any of the others. And we put in everything we had to build that church.
Thank you.
Well, I
all.
would just like to thank you, John. You've done a miraculous job, and Alan and Diane. Thank you for having us and putting us in prosperity.
And here's to the future, que metto chrono,
Yes.
But hopefully this
Thank
will
you,
all
thank
go
you, and
into the
thank-
history books and the
Yes.
younger
Everyone,
generation.
Yes.
you know.
Right, yeah.
Volunteers, everybody's
Everybody, and we got a
working
long
hard
way,
on this
we got a long,
project.
long way to go yet on the project.
Let's sign
All
up
right.
Thank you,
sign
thank
up
you.
on-
John,
Happy birthday.
I demand that you order T-bone steaks for each of us.
All right.
Oh, no, John, not for me.